chess friends, and welcome to Jozarov's chess channel, and welcome to my best chess games of all time series. So in this series we follow the best of the best chess games that have been ever played in chess history, and today I wanted to show you a great game played by Alexander Alekhine against Efim Bogoljubov. The game was played in 1922. So back in the 20s, Alexander Alekhine was a very talented player, but then in the match game against Jozarov Capablanca, he will gain his world championship. He will become the 4th world champion in chess. So on the other hand, Efim Bogoljubov, he was a great theoretician and was also a very respected player back in the 20s, and we should be thankful for Bogoljubov. He also made some progress in some Queen's Indian setups, so many lines are named after Efim Bogoljubov. But here we will see all of the potential that Alexander Alekhine had even in this early stage of the life, and he was really playing nice positional games. And although the game that I wanted to show you today, it's not one of the most tactical, it doesn't have so many tactical shots as I always like to say, but here in this game you see how important the pawn mobility is, and in this game Alexander Alekhine will give up 2 of his queens just in order to make some progress with some pawns. So unbelievable stuff. As I said, Alexander Alekhine was really hard to battle even when he was young, because he played very nice positions. So he was always having this compact and firm pawn structures. Really, it was really hard to break through, and that's why he was he became then the 4th world champion, because he was playing simply on a different level, and Jozarov Capablanca also saw that on his skin. So that's why he deserves all of our respect, of course, in the chess history, and this game also deserves to be on our playlist of this best chess games of all time. So let's see the game. We have d4 here by Bogoljubov, f5. The Dutch defense, it's not one of the most popular openings these days, but the Dutch defense has its positional advantages. f5, after c4 we have knight on f6, and now g3. When I play against the Dutch defense, I like to play this g3 attack myself. It's this fianchetto variation, a little bit delaying this moves with our knights. And here after e6 we have bishop on g2, and now bishop on b4. We have this so-called Dutch Nimzo setup. It's now similar to the Nimzo Indian. We are waiting knight on c3 so we can pin this knight, and we can double up pawns here after b takes c3, and then the idea is to have a good control of this square e4 with potential b6, bishop on b7, and then knight on e4 is our positional advantage, because of course the knight on c3 is a very nice protector of this square e4. So that's why bishop on d2, although I think maybe knight on d2 is better, although you're blocking your bishop out a little bit. But in the next move after castling we can play a3, and white has to react here. If you want to take out the knight, then I think in this early stage of the game to give up the bishop pair, or we can even take with our queen, waiting then after b3, having both of these diagonals covered with our bishop. So I think knight on d2 is a much more flexible line. In this continuation, bishop on d2 was played, and now bishop takes on d2, and now knight takes on d2. Knight on c6, you can try here d5, but it doesn't bring you so much. I think we can play knight on e7 challenging, and after e4 simply castling, waiting here the position to get solved, and then we have a really clear situation in the center. The position is much more simplified. I think this is an equal position for both sides. So here Bogoljubov played knight on f3, and here castling played by Aljehin, castling, and now d6. This is a flexible move that Alexander Alekhine has played now, with the preparation of course to play e5, then maybe even e4 or f4, preparing here this kingside attack with his pawns, similar to the King's Indian setups, although we don't have any more the dark square bishop on the board. But still, if the position for this light square bishop gets open, then it could be very dangerous. On the other hand, white would love, for instance, play a move like e4 to fix the position in the center, but here white played the move queen on b3. Maybe a better move maybe a better move is to play immediately here the move d5, simply attacking here the knight and having this advanced pawn, although you have troubles maybe to defend it, but I think you get some tempos and you're cracking this position in the center. So in the game, queen on b3 was played, not allowing this bishop to make progress, and then of course the b2 b7 pawn is hanging. Here king on h8 was played, and now queen on c3. The idea is, of course, if the position again open somehow, then we of course want to have this control of the dark squares. But now Alexander Alekhine played e5 anyway, so this wasn't a good calculation, I think, by white, because you cannot take here like this, because if you take the knight, then your knight on d2 is hanging. So that's why a very nice preparation here by Alexander Alekhine, immediately playing e5. We have e3 and now a5. Also very common idea, blocking one side and making progress on the other side, because you see the direction of these pawns is showing us that white will probably coordinate the attack. On the queen side, of course, black will try the attack here on the king side, because these pawns are directed on this side. So that's why this a5 move is a very nice positional move, not allowing immediately white to push the pawn b4 and then b5, c5 or d5 immediately. If d5 happens now, it's only an improvement of the position for black, because now finally the structure has changed. Now we have this static center, and now after knight on e7 we have accomplished, and now the position on the queen side is fixed, and now we're waiting on our attack, maybe h6, g5 and g4, and similar ideas. f4 is even a possibility. So that's why here white will never try to fix the position here on the queen side. White wants to stay flexible, and that's why here white played the move b3. The idea of b3 is then to play a3, rook on b1, and then finally to crack the position with the move b4. But it's a little bit too slow. You see why? Because here Alexander Alekhine played queen on e8. This he can play this move because white hasn't played this most natural move, knight on c3, because in some occasions if you're moving the queen on e8, then you have the possibility to jump with your knight here on d5 or even b5, attacking this c7 weakness. So black would be forced to play something like rook on f7, but then if that happens, you have lost the connection between your rooks. So that's why you see Alexander Alekhine read the position very well here, and you see that this knight is a little bit out of game. It's not a good knight here, this knight on d2. So that's why this bishop on b4 idea immediately in the beginning was a really nice opening preparation by Aljehin. a3, as I said, we are preparing now finally this b4 move, and now queen on h5. This is very tricky already. The idea is, of course, knight on g4, then to play something like e4, deflecting this knight from the defense of this h2 pawn, and then creating even some checkmates. If h3, then we have some possibilities to play f4, liberating then this bishop's diagonal, and then taking out this pawn on h3. So that's why here h4 was played. It's sort of a blocking system, but still I think you have weakened much further your king here with this move h4. Now there are also some possibilities to crack the position with the move f4. Here we have knight on g4. Now you see you can take, but here again we can recapture with the pawn, and again you don't have some attackers, so you can play in the next move again e4 or even f4. So flexible game here on the king side. So after knight on g4, knight on g5 was played, and now bishop on d7. Alexander Alekhine uses now this moment and connects these rooks, which is very important. He finishes now his whole development, and now f3, kicking away the knight, knight on f6, and now f4. f4 is really bad, I think, because if you have already played the move f3, it's not a problem, because okay, you have kicked away the knight, you have maybe weakened your pawn structure a little bit, but if you have played f3, you don't play f4 again, I think, because now after e4, the position now on the king side is cemented, and now we can try h6, g5, rook on g8, and similar ideas open here the position on the on the king side, and I hope you realize that this bishop is really out of game. It's blocked out. Still, we have maybe some possibilities to somehow go with our Lyxor bishop in the game, but this bishop on g2 is really too weak now. Here rook on d1 was played. Now h6, of course, kicking away the knight, knight on h3, and now d5. Closing the position here also on the queen side, we have knight on f1 and now knight on e7. Because if, of course, you take, then we have again a very nice blockade here, blocking system. You can never advance this pawn on d4. We can play c6 and cement really this very important knight and try really our g5 idea to make this pawn breakthrough here on the king side. So in the game, a4 was played by Bogoljubov. Now maybe a better idea for Alexander. Pardon me. After a4, you can also play something like c6, but Alexander Alekhine played a very interesting idea because he has realized now that after the move a4, you can never play anymore the move a3, so that's why he gets back with his knight and will use now the b4 square in order to make progress here, even on the queen side. So you see, Alexander Alekhine played a very nice positional game. He has also the advantage now on the king side. He has also the advantage on the queen side because white played really this weird moves with his pawns, and now there are many holes in the position here. Also this d3 weakness is too much to handle. If the knight jumps here on b4, then after that on d3 it will be very hard to battle against this knight. So rook on d2, knight on b4. As said, we have knight bishop on h1. I'm not sure about this move. What's the idea behind this move? It's really a bad move. Here queen on e8 was played, and now rook on g2. Okay, you have maybe some possibilities on the g file, but I think black can always be a little bit faster and attack here on the g file. In the game, d takes c4 was played. After b takes c4, now Alexander Alekhine simply takes the pawn and will continue with the pawn up. And of course, this is, I think, something that you don't do against Alexander Alekhine. Here he has advantage. He has a pass pawn. He has a good activity on the queen side. Knight on f2 was played, and now bishop on d7, preparing here this a4 move. Knight on d2, we have b5, knight on d1, and you see, because of this space advantage that Alexander Alekhine has created, this knight are really finding hard to this squares on the board. You have to make many repositions of this knight. Meanwhile, here after knight on d3, now this knight is very dangerous knight. Here after rook takes on a5, we have a very interesting idea now by Alexander Alekhine. He plays the move b4. And this is what I'm talking about. Sometimes the pawn can be even a better piece than a queen. Now, of course, rook takes on a8 was played, but now Alexander Alekhine played b takes c3, takes the queen. After rook takes on e8, now you can guess Alexander Alekhine's next move. He played c2, sacrificing the rook on f8. Rook takes on f8. We have king on h7, knight on f2, and now we have another queen. But now knight on f1, and now I want you to realize this position. Look at these pieces in front of white's king. They are really crowded here. I don't know what white was thinking about these moves, but now it's really sort of a Zugzwang position here. You don't have so much activity, although you have three minor pieces, two rooks on the board. Basically the only piece that can play here on the board is this rook on the 8th rank. And now knight on e1 was played by, and now you see you have only one square for the rook on h2, and now queen takes on c4. We have rook on b5 now, b8, bishop on b5, of course preparing this checkmate here on f1, but now rook takes on b5, and after queen takes on b5, you see Alexander Alekhine has a completely winning position. But you still have to find the best moves, because you cannot just rush into attacks. You cannot play something like g5 immediately. You have to prepare. You have to improve the position of your pieces first, and that's why here Bogoljubov tried to attractive position with the move g4, and his idea was probably to finally get rid of the space advantage on e4. But now knight on f3, we have bishop takes on f3, e takes f3, and now we have g takes f5. Although you have lost the pawn, but now this pawn is a weakness, this pawn on e3 is a weakness, so these are the main targets that Alexander Alekhine will try to attack. Queen on e2, we have d5, and now king on g8, we have h5, king on h7, and here e4. This was really sort of a Zugzwang position that Alexander Alekhine played here, forcing white to do something. And now after e4 we have knight takes on e4, knight takes on e4, queen takes on e4, and these three pawns again are the main targets that can be taken in the next couple of moves. Also this h5 pawn is also a weakness, so these four pawns are really not good connected, so that's why this is now completely winning endgame here for Aljehin. d6, we have c takes d6, now f6, g takes f6, and now rook on d2, and now you can pause the video and try to find the best move here. Alexander Alekhine found it, and the funny thing about this move is that when I analyze the game, the evaluation here is -7, so +7 for black, but when you play the move that Alexander Alekhine played, so even Stockfish here doesn't find the move immediately. Here the evaluation is automatically like -50 here, so it's completely winning for black. I hope you found this move because it was really again a great queen sacrifice. We have queen on e2, and now the evaluation is -50 for black. So here after rook takes on e2 we have f takes e2, but now you see it again, a very mobile pawn like this b pawn that was aiming on the queen side. We have after f takes e2, the king has to participate in the defense, and now e takes f1, promotion to queen. We have king takes on f1, so this was now the third queen that Alexander Alekhine had on the board, but now we have a 3-on-2 situation endgame, and this is now completely winning. But let's see the continuation. King on e2, we have king on f7, king on e3, king on e6, king on e4, and now d5. And in this position Efim Bogoljubov resigned because this is now pass pawn. We are waiting, and we can simply then deflect the king from on the d file, and then after that we can take this pawns, and then we'll have two pass pawns, and we'll have of course a completely winning endgame here. Okay, a great game by Alexander Alekhine with his queen sacrifices, pawn breakthroughs, Zugzwang motifs, and many more. Really a great game. We all know, as I said, he won the game against Jozarov Capablanca. Jozarov Capablanca was really well, also one of the best chess players in history, but Alexander Alekhine was too much to handle even for this legendary Capablanca. Alexander Alekhine became the 4th world champion, and it has an important place in, I think, in chess history. Okay, meanwhile you can watch my other commented chess games with some more Alexander Aljehin, Garry Kasparov, Mikhail Tal videos, and many more. Well, you can also watch my best chess games played by computers like AlphaZero, LilaZero, Stockfish, and many more. And you can also subscribe to my channel if you like this content. Thanks you for watching, guys, and chess is the best, of course.